how much or even more than that, the scholars used to give importance that I'm going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to the masjid. And that's the spirit that we need to build. Because one of the things that happens is when we often do something, the value of that thing comes out from our heart. You know, when you're doing something every day, it becomes a habit. Then habits are some things that you are so comfortable with that you do not pay attention to what you're doing. And eventually, what happens that we are able to neglect the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is why we have to be mindful when we're coming to the house of Allah, and especially adhering to the dress code of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, Ya bani Adam khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. In Surah Al-A'raf, that, O son of Adam, when you go to the masjid, take the most beautiful character and take the most beautiful dress when you go to the house of Allah. So outwardly, you have been decorated yourself, and inwardly you have decorated yourself. Why? Because you're coming to the house of Allah. Imagine a very prominent individual, a person who everyone looks up to, or the president of the country has invited you to his house. The way you will make sure, the way you're going to speak on that day, how are you going to present yourself, how are you going to go and talk to him, how are you going to introduce yourself to him. All of these things, they will go behind our mind. Why? Because of our presence, the importance that we give to these things. Similarly, when we come to the house of Allah, it is very essential and important that we value the masjid, we value the house of Allah. A lot of times we come with such dressing that forget about coming to the masjid. Even to be found in such dressing at any other given time, any other place, for a believer is not permissible. You know, awrah being showed, the areas that you are supposed to be, they're supposed to be covered. When you're coming to the masjid and when you come to pray salah, you have to make sure that your shirt is long enough that when you go into sujood, the back of your back is not exposed, right? Proper dressing is considered to be, it is the order of Allah. خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ is amr, that Allah is telling us, when you come to the house of Allah, make sure you're following these guidelines. We ask Allah to grant us, and the reminder is needed for everybody, because we are forgetting, and we don't value what we have in our hands. And this is one of the ways that we can be thankful to Allah, that Allah has given us the facility, Allah has given us the ability, Allah has made it easy for us, and Allah has facilitated for us to come to His house. If this would have been possible, where a person would go. So we have to appreciate it, value it, and do its proper order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.